Our first speaker is Jeff Davis. Jeff, not yet. I'm glad that you're excited. That's awesome. I want to tell you just a couple of words about Jeff first. Jeff Davis is an author, he's a speaker, he's an adventurer, he's a philanthropist. You can read more in the program, but I'll just share with you. I met him probably a little over a year ago, and I was struck by his optimism, his insight, his wisdom at his youthful age, and I thought, this guy's got it together. He would be amazing to speak to students. And so, of course, I begged and I pleaded, and Jeff decided to come and speak to you today. Now you can give him a warm welcome.
It's an honor to be here. It really is, and I mean that a lot. And I want to make something clear off the bat. That even though I'm about to share an experience from my life, a very heartfelt and personal experience, this is truly your day. This is about you. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Now, this is a very ironic situation right now because I can vividly remember when I was your exact age, really not that long ago, I'm in my mid-20s, and I'd be sitting somewhere in the audience and I was so skeptical and I wouldn't necessarily pay attention. I didn't want other people to tell me what to do. So I've decided to share something with you today. That's something I struggle to tell my best friend or my girlfriend or other people. But I know what it's like to be skeptical, so I wanted to think of the most heartfelt, meaningful story I could possibly share with you to make sure that we can walk away with a lesson that you can apply in your life in a practical, meaningful way. Remember what Heather said in her wonderful opening keynote? Just think one thing. What's the one thing you can apply in your life? I'm going to share some lessons and insights. Keep it simple. It may apply to you in one area or another area, but think, how can this apply to you in your life? So who was I in high school? You're probably wondering, who is this guy? I was a half nerd, half stud. What do I mean by that? Well, I had nerdy elements where I was reading and researching and I was doing well in the classroom. I didn't care about grades. But I was a three-sport athlete: football in the fall, ski team in the winter, and baseball in the spring. A very serious athlete playing sports year-round. I remember several friends of mine said, Jeff, that's a very interesting combination where you have both that classroom ability where you're caring about your grades, but you're also really tearing it up on the field. And I really cared about both. And the story here today is about baseball. Here's the thing to remember. Baseball was my life. It was my absolute life. Think of the one thing that you care about the most in your mind right now. Whether it be a hobby or a person or something you do or something you really love in your life. That was the extent to which I loved baseball. I grew up on the Sandy Hook side of Newtown, Connecticut. I went to Sandy Hook Elementary School. I used to play baseball growing up at the Diamond of Sandy Hook Elementary School. And I would love playing with my neighborhood friends. It's about a 30-second walk. My mom teaches at Sandy Hook Elementary School as well. And I would play baseball in the Diamond growing up with my friends, really caring about someday dreaming of being a college athlete. So this is what I cared about the most. I cared about it the most. I went to a showcase as a junior in high school, and I was competing against the best athletes from New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, even some from Ohio. These were considered to be the top athletes in the United States of America. At the end of that day, 3 scouts came up to me and said, "You were the best player on that field." I crushed it. I was doing well. I was hitting doubles. I was making good plays from the outfield. And I ended up getting 7 letters from interested colleges to play at the higher level. My dreams were finally coming true. Finally. I couldn't possibly have been more happy, and it's nerve-wracking to play in front of all these scouts, but I got 7 letters from interested colleges. Now, in the fall of my senior year, football didn't go well, and that was a huge disappointment. But I threw that off, and I said, I'm putting all of my hopes and dreams, all of my self-worth into being on this baseball team. 100%. And I said, I'm going to do everything in my power to be a starter on that team because this is my biggest dream. This is what I care about the most. So I quit the ski team, even though all my friends told me not to do it. My parents told me not to do it. They said, Jeff, it's your senior year of high school. Just enjoy it. Just have fun. And I said, no, I'm not happy until I'm a starter on that team. This is what I care about the most. And yes, I did care about my grades too. Like I said, that's important. But outside of school, this was the thing I trained for constantly, prepared, and got ready for. And like I said, I was a good player, got recruited. So tryouts roll around and I crushed so many good hits against some of the best pitchers in the league. I was doing really well. And my teammates looked me in the eye and they said, Jeff, you were a good player before. Now you're amazing. I can tell you have worked as hard as you have to earn this. And in the final scrimmage of tryouts, there was a Division I college recruit athlete, and no one on our team could not possibly get a hit off of him. So he either struck out, our players either struck out against him or they grounded out, and I got up. I said, this is my chance to show that I got recruited, and that this is my self-worth. All of my hopes and dreams are coming true. This is it. This is it. This is what I, not only 4 years of high school, actually the first 17 years of my life, I never stopped dreaming about this was it. This was it. And I got up, people in the stands, there's only a scrimmage, but a lot of people were there because there were all these college recruit athletes. And I crushed, 2-2 pitch, crushed a double off of him. Almost a home run. And even though we were down 9-0, my teammates were cheering me on, saying, Jeff, thank God someone got a hit off him who was pitching a no-hitter up until that point. Going back to the locker room, I was on cloud 9. I felt great. I felt wonderful about myself. I finally did it. The coach took out the list of the people who made the team, and one by one went down. My heart was racing. This is it. I can't wait. This is it. 17 years of hard work, $10,000, summer teams competing against the best players in the country. I'm going to play at the college level. I finally did it. I finally made it. I can finally be happy because I was never once happy all 4 years of high school. One by one by one. I didn't get called. I got cut from the team. Raise your hand if you've ever been cut before. It's not a good feeling. It's not a good feeling at all. And I can laugh about it now, but at the time I was devastated because 100% of my self-worth was being on that team. And I remember I was driving home and I thought, I'm nothing, I'm nobody, I'm a failure. And I couldn't stop thinking, I'm nothing, I'm nobody, I'm a failure. Because 100% of my self-worth was on that team, and all my friends said that in order to be somebody, you have to be on that team. You're nothing if you're not on that team. That's all I heard from my friends, the people around me in high school. And I went home, and I pushed my parents away, even though they were trying to be the supporter. And it was the worst moment of my life. This is the thing I'm most afraid to share with other people. I'm terrified right now. I'm terrified that I might get judged for. I don't tell this to even my best friend, but I know that no one had the guts to tell me when I was your age. So I'm going to take a risk and share it anyways. I didn't want to go on. I said, my life is over. When I got home, I said, I'm going to end my life. I don't mean 99%, I mean 100% it's over. I'm done. All my self-worth is gone. I didn't make the team. My friends say I'm nobody, no one cares. I went to the garage, I grabbed the rope, and I said, I'm going to hang myself from the tree out back. I walked to the tree, I was going to kill myself, and I was 1 second away from ending my life, and a spark of hope went off in me. And it said, and I actually laughed at myself because people in high school laughed me off the stage and said, you could never speak in front of 20 or 30 people. The spark of hope that went off and said, someday, if you're lucky, you might be able to share this with someone else and help them. You might be able to speak about it. It wasn't even a thought, it was like a knowing. Someday you might be able to share with other people. I didn't want to be alive anymore. My self-worth was gone, and that's the spark that came to me. And I went back to my room, and I started to just lay there because I was nothing. My self-worth was gone. And I realized something profound. Your self-worth does not depend on external circumstances. It's so simple. No one, not one person, not one person in my 4 years of high school told me that. Not one person. Your self-worth does not depend on external circumstances. And a feeling of peace came over me because I realized, even though I didn't make the team, I was still somebody. Even though everyone around me thought I was nobody, I was still somebody, because your self-worth doesn't depend on external circumstances. It doesn't depend on what other people think. It doesn't depend on the outcome of the situation. Now, still do your best. Still go for what you want. Still go for that team. Still go for the good grade. But if you get a B instead of an A, or a C instead of a B, or if you don't make the team when you wanted to make the team, or you got rejected by the guy or girl that you wanted to go out with, or maybe your friend completely hurt you, and I'm not even going to go into that, but I've had a couple things like that happen. Your self-worth does not depend on external circumstances. It's so simple saying that. I'm saying, why did no one tell me that? That's the title of my speech. Why did no one tell me that? I don't understand. But I can't control other people. You can't control the circumstances, but you can control how you feel and how you respond. And you can control in all situations how you respond to any outcome, even if it's not what you expected, because your self-worth doesn't depend on it. You are infinitely worthy, regardless of what other people say or do, even if a coach tells you you're nobody, like my coach told me. As far as grades, I was always putting pressure on myself to get a perfect grade. Here's something else that no one ever told me. Why did no one tell me? Why did no one tell me that your life doesn't depend on the outcome of your grade in the class? Again, I want to be very clear. Always be disciplined. Always work hard. Always try your best. And like I said in the beginning, you heard me say that I care about school. Still always do your best, but don't attach your self-worth to the outcome. Why was I so miserable all 4 years of high school? Why was it the worst 4 years of my life, culminating in the spring of my senior year, almost not being around here anymore in the world, almost drifting off into nothingness? Because I didn't really have anyone tell me these. I didn't really have any help and guidance to realize that your self-worth doesn't depend on external circumstances. If you're getting cyberbullied, I've gotten cyberbullied by a friend who, this wasn't just a random guy off the street. I hung out with him all the time, but he was fake because in person he'd be my friend. He even came over to my house. I even went over his house. In front of our parents, he'd be my friend, and then he would cyberbully me all the time. You're nothing. You're nobody. Oh, Jeff, you didn't make the team. Oh, man, you're worthless. This is what my friend said to me. You know what I realize now? Your self-worth doesn't depend on what other people say to you. It doesn't depend on external circumstances. So what did Heather say? Switch your focus. Switch your focus off the bully. The mistake I made in high school is that I've always put all my focus on the fake friend and not what I had going for me in my life. I was grateful growing up in Newtown, Connecticut, with my mom, a teacher at St. Hotel Elementary School, and with my dad, a computer programmer. I did have two parents that cared about me. I did go through a very dysfunctional high school experience at the private high school I went to. I'm not going to name it because there's no hard feelings. I'm only sharing it to help other people. But if you're grateful for what you have in your life, it'll help you deal with those setbacks. Take the pressure off yourself by realizing you're fine. No one ever, Jeff, you're fine. No one ever said to me, Jeff, you're going to be fine. Where you go to university doesn't matter. No one ever told me that. All 4 years of high school, I made myself miserable and unhappy because I said I have to be perfect in school, perfect on the field, and burn myself out in every area of my life because my entire life was dependent on where I go to university. My TED Talk was about me choosing the small school that everyone in my high school judged me for. It ended up leading me to traveling around the world. So where you go to university does not matter. This is so ironic because if I was sitting in the audience right now, I would think I'm an idiot. I would think, this guy's an idiot, I am not listening to him, because all I believed was that my entire life depended. Now, I don't even mean 90%, I mean my life depended on where I went to university. I applied to 16 colleges, got into 9, but because high school was such a disaster, I went on to the small school in Maryland. I went on to play baseball in college, even though I got cut. Then I went on to play out in Europe against minor league baseball players. Your self-worth doesn't depend on other people's opinions. My high school baseball coach, maybe he got cut in Little League. Maybe he was jealous that I was getting all these letters in the mail from colleges. I don't know. It's only one person's opinion. I'm going to leave you right now as we wrap up with 4 very quick, hard-hitting points. See if they resonate with you. See if one of these points resonates with you, and then I'll leave you to go on with the rest of your lives. Hopefully one small thing from what I said might apply in one situation in your life. 1, there's no such thing as failure. No such thing as failure. Either you win or you learn. Either you win or you learn. There's no such thing as failure. You don't get an outcome you didn't want. Your self-worth doesn't depend on it. It just means that you can learn from the situation and look for next steps. 2, take life in small chunks, small steps. I've had people come up to me and they say, and they're even much older than me sometimes, they say, how did you publish a book at the age of 24 through a publisher and distribute it around the world? Europe, Asia, North America. They're asking, how did I do that? The reason is I took it in small steps. So I got overwhelmed because I was always looking at the big picture. Baseball, football, grades, pleasing my friends, pleasing my parents, pleasing everyone in my life, but I never actually realized, sitting down, hey, just take it in small steps, it's going to be fine. No one ever told me that. Define your own version of success. I'm about to publish my next book. I'm featuring Heather as well as 22 of the world's leading leadership and communication experts. I've done research on this. I've done the research on it's important to define your own version of success. What matters to you? Not your friends, your parents, your teachers, your colleagues, your acquaintances, not the person on the side of the street, the person who cares about you most. It's what you want in your life. Define and reach your version of success. That's what my next book is called, which I'm going to distribute around the world again. It's called Reach Your Mountaintop, Move Beyond Doubt and Achieve More. Last tip, your self-worth doesn't depend on other people's opinions. It's only one person's opinion. I went on to play baseball in college. I went on to play baseball in Europe. And I went on to help other people get through their dark times. Everything happens for a reason. What we learned today is that your self-worth doesn't depend on external circumstances. We learned to take the pressure off of yourself by still trying hard with grades, still doing your best, but realizing that your self-worth doesn't depend on the outcome. Where you go to university doesn't matter, so go after what you want, but never be attached to the outcome. And then we finished with those hard-hitting practical points. There's no such thing as failure. Either you win or you learn. And then we talked about the fact that take it in small steps. One little baby step at a time to find your own version of success. And it's only one person's opinion. No matter what anyone else says or does to you, you are always worthy. No one ever told me that. If you apply even one small kernel from this speech, you will be far ahead of the curve, and then you will reach your mountaintop, your own version of success. Have a great day.